Since the beginning of time, thought, imagination, and dreams have fascinated not only scientists, but artists as well. What is really happening in our heads? It is this type of question that has led Thomas Israe, author of many numerical art pieces, to create Metacrane, based on the free association process.
L'association libre, c'est ce qui se passe quand on est dans un...
Free association is what's happening when we are in a dream or in a creative process moment. When one relaxes and let go of their idea, new combinations arise. We associate more freely image, sounds and smells. This is very interesting to me because it is very creative thinking.
The author's creative thought materializes with his installation, a 3.5 high by 3 meter wide structure that encloses a spherical screen on which 360-degree images are projected. His videos are accompanied by sounds emanating from 5 speakers placed around the skull, and everything is controlled by a specially programmed computer.
This computer will associate all my films in relation to their color, light and speed characteristics. It will constantly create new associations which I have never thought of. Therefore, it will perpetually create a new film.
This never-ending film finds its resources in 1,000 sequences created by Thomas Israe himself in the past few years. This work is therefore a representation of the artist's brain and his memories, which in turn take on a new meaning thanks to the machine.
Often this makes me happy. I tell myself, oh, I would have loved to do that. I'm happy to see things that goes well with each other, that I wouldn't have put together myself because, for example, I filmed them at a 5-year interval. Or perhaps music that matches perfectly to something that I have previously filmed, which in turn gives to the piece a new meaning. Therefore, I will stop working, it's perfect. The machine will work for me. The machine becomes creative.
In order to recreate this process of free association inside the machine, we took my entire video work of the past 5 years and we cut it into more or less 1,000 video clips. Then every video clip has been analyzed by a special plugin created by Numedia for Metacrane, depending on their Media-cycle project. They have been analyzed through 8 criteria. The famous HSV, hue saturation value, and also the inner speed of the media, and also the variation inside the media of those 4 criteria. So by the end, we have a table of classification of all the media by those 8 criteria. So once they are classified, all those medias are called by the Isadora, the interactive program, in order to be edited through different patterns I have created. Isadora will call movie in regard of their classification into the list. For example, it will call a very saturated movie just after another very saturated movie. Like that, the human mind could make a link between those 2 movies, even though the machine have no idea if there is a psychological link in those 2 movies. A little infrared camera is located on the top of the skull and linked with 2 infrared projectors on the bottom. It allowed Isadora to know exactly if there is somebody in the skull, how many persons are in the skull, where they are located, and if they are still or in movement. With all those data, we will be able to make an evolution in the editing process for the image, but also for the sound. For example, for the moment, all the lyrics in the skull have a tendency to go away from the visitor in order to create this 3D. Let's talk a little bit about the sound. It's a 5.1 customized installation, so it's 4 points One on the top, where normally the 5.1 is on the front. Here it's on the top to give the volume of the sound, and also infrabass and bass on the bottom. To project the live editing inside the skull, I'm using Paul Bourck hemispherical mirror technique linked to a second first surface mirror in order to put the projector as far out as possible. Like that, the whole surface of the skull is free for the visitors.
Légère ou grave, peu d'amour de soi. Adoré. Toi. Arrangé avec ce que j'ai